this is the weekly celestial forecast for the week beginning March 20th, 2023. So to start off on Monday, we've got the moon in Pisces and applying a conjunction to both Neptune and the sun, and on Tuesday for the new moon in Aries. And so on Monday, the moon in Pisces kind of casts a dreamy light on everything. We're feeling a little romantic, feeling a little bit dreamy, maybe projecting a lot of desires for our goals for the future. It's great for imagination, creative pursuits, even that which is connected with healing, medical, but especially in this case, emotional, mental. So it's a good day to really reflect, and there may be issues from the past that also come up now. And on Tuesday, the moon will then apply a conjunction with Neptune, and then later on in the afternoon, the new moon in Aries. So this week, it's all about fresh starts. Yes, and Uranus, the planet of the unexpected, is making a sweet sextile earth and water with the moon. So that's also very creative on Monday. It's very innovative. So this is the time on Monday that you might be putting together a plan or a project or some kind of creative endeavor. But whatever you do, it will have your own stamp of approval. And the moon in Pisces, by the way, is also connected with compassion. So this is a day we are going to be especially sensitive to the needs of others, and a good time to be sensitive to our needs for good time for downtime. And Mercury is at 3 degrees of Aries, and Aries is the first house, and with Mercury there, it's about really speaking our mind. However, with Mercury there, we have to watch our speech so that we are not going to be too aggressive or assertive or overly blunt now, especially with the sun in an out of sign conjunction with Mercury. So that's kind of a feel good aspect because we sense this newness, this fresh start. It's the beginning of spring this week. That's great. But in our zest to get things done, we have to be careful not to stumble over our words and really give some forethought to being compassionate or sensitive to other people's needs and not really thinking of our needs, our desires, and what we want or don't want. And that's Mercury and Aries. They really put it out there. And we have also Jupiter, the lucky planet, the planet of good fortune and prosperity, conjunct the healer of Chiron. So that's very good for some good news also this week regarding money, finances, education, also forms of travel, local, long distance education, you name it. It's a really good time for beginning projects that later on likely will work out rather well. But then again, that's based on a more personal chart. Nonetheless, Jupiter there is a good time to really put your best foot forward and express yourself this week. And we also have now the North Node in Taurus with Venus. Oh, that's ever so sweet because Venus is in Taurus, its own. And with the North Node, the nodes are a very sensitive point. So that kind of emphasizes this sensitivity that we will have this week to others' feelings and others' being just considerate for others, especially with this Pisces moon, Neptune there, and the 29 critical degrees of Pisces, and with the connection with the North Node and Venus. That's really good for really having a good discussion about the state of a relationship. And it's also good for what? Believe it or not, it's also good for money, for finances. So this week, and while Venus is going to transit the sign of Taurus, it's all about organizing and going over finances. Yes, the connection with banks will be focused upon, but more in the sense of organization, kind of having to go back to the past to reorganize or restructure Taurus the future. So there's a lot of talk now about structuring, restructuring the economy, finances, and of course, real estate, because that is connected with our earth. And that personally is going to be very good for us about savings, all forms of money, investments, because Taurus, and with this sensitive North Node point, is very savvy about what we value, our security, our investments, all form of money, you name it. And we have now Mars in the later degrees of Gemini, and moving forward this week to the sign of Cancer. I'm sorry, that's going to be next week or late this week on the 25th. Yes, indeed. So Mars is finishing up its long trek through the sign of Gemini. And as we approach the sign of Cancer, Cancer is about what? It's about security. So there's going to be more discussions about our money. It's connected with the fourth house. It's connected with home and family, what we value, kind of like this connection with Taurus now. So this is only going to be even more important, more highlighted. What do we value about our family, about our abode, our house, our finances? Also, kind of like with Taurus, our investments, our savings. What do we look at as security? And this is going to be more discussed now. It's a good time to be very active concerning home and family security issues indeed. And then also, kind of like Taurus, that's also kind of connected not with just money, but also possibly with real estate or anything also that is connected with the earth. So that's a very sound placement. Yes, indeed. And Mars now, as it is getting closer and closer to the sign of Cancer, is also making an out of sign trine to Saturn at early 1 degree of Pisces. And that is very sweet, that connection. It's about action, and it's about what? Responsibility. So now we are going to start taking action and becoming very grounded about our goals for the future, taking responsibility, taking action to help bring about practical Saturn solutions. But in water signs, this is very sentimental. So Mars almost in the sign of Cancer, Saturn in the emotional sign, and the healing sign of Pisces is indeed very grounded and very positive. So we're going to receive likely this week and in the coming weeks with the trine with Mars and Saturn, some very good news. And Saturn is also about karma. So whatever actions we take now, that will affect our security, and this sense of needing to reorganize will be a very effective change and very effective action for the future. And Pluto, yes, is at the 29 degrees critical mark, exactly, making a sextile to the sun in Pisces. Also another very grounding connection. And Pluto, what is Pluto? It's about our power. It's also about the powers that be. And 29 degrees critical Pluto in Capricorn with 29 degrees sun at critical Pisces and almost at 0 degrees official critical Aries. There's going to be some important transitions you can guarantee Monday and Tuesday. What do we need to change about our personal power? But it's also a good time for feeling good about our self-esteem, our confidence, our sense of power. But yes, transitions about powers that be, government, structure, you name it. There's going to be some important information or news that comes about this week, especially Monday and Tuesday, about extremely pivotal changes. And what is Pluto? It's an earth sign, kind of just like Venus and the North Node and Uranus in Taurus, this very grounding connection. And this is the time we are going to restructure that which is connected with finance, the economy, real estate, all forms of structure and power. That also deals with the powers that be that need restructuring and transformation. And that is what is going to be pivotal, but especially Monday and Tuesday with the sextile to the sun and with Pluto. Yes, indeed. So let's move ahead another day until the 21st. Yes, it is now Tuesday, March 21st, and yes, Pluto is still at the 29th degree of Capricorn, and now the moon is officially in Aries with the sun and the new moon. Yes, so we are continuing that theme of fresh starts and feeling very energetic and boisterous. We feel like everything's going to work out this week, our plans, and certainly with 0 degrees Aries, with the sun, with the new moon, and making a wide conjunction with Mercury, the communicator, this is the week to really communicate our desires for the future. It's a very creative influence also. So this is the time to really jot down some of those plans and to execute them and take action, and really just a good time for planting the seeds of our objectives, principles, and goals ahead. Now we have, yes, still Chiron with Jupiter, and we are inching closer to that conjunction with Jupiter within the next, day and a half. So, wow. So it's a one thing that it's the first day of spring and we are moving forward, but once that conjunction takes place between the moon and Jupiter, likely by Thursday, wow, we are really going to headlong into some very good news about prosperity. Maybe we will get the job we were looking for. We will get some of that unexpected money that comes in, whatever it is. But that's very good news that by Thursday we should receive, because of that sweet conjunction between the moon and Jupiter. And what else is the moon? The moon is the collective, the public eye, and also the moon is about changement. It changes, it's about movement. So maybe now we are desiring to make changes and important moves in our lives that will be very fortunate for us in the future. Yes, indeed. Very future oriented chart for this week. And Mars is now at 28 degrees of Gemini, and however, making an out of sign square off to the moon and the sun. So, what does that mean? So, anytime you have a square, especially anything connected with the moon and Mars, the planet of action, the moon is, especially now with this new moon and spring energy, we're feeling to some degree that nothing can go wrong. It kind of imbues us with this positive energy. And with that square off with Mars, and especially with the moon applying a conjunction here within a day and a half to 2 days, we're feeling rather lucky to the point that we may overspend or we may overestimate uh, the certain small issues within our plan. So we have a grand vision, which is great, but with Mars squaring the moon and the sun, we may overlook some of the details. So this is a good time to be creative. It's very forward looking, but we have to remember to look at the details because later on, this could trip us up. And not to overspend. We may be lucky in the money department this week, but with Mars, we really are feeling good. We're feeling lucky. And this is the time, folks, to save. Kind of take a hint with this out of sign square with Mars and Mars going into the security oriented sign of Cancer to save for a rainy day and not take that extra money you could receive now and splurge. So this is the time to save for a rainy day. Now let's look ahead to Wednesday, and that's March the 22nd. And we've got the sun at 1, almost 2 degrees of Aries, making a wide conjunction with Mercury. So, with that said, and the sun applying this week a gentle, closer conjunction with Mercury, it's in Aries, so we will have to just kind of watch our speech, kind of like earlier in the week, Monday. We don't want to speak too rashly, kind of react too hastily. And with Mars, that can kind of trigger anger or trigger aggression. So we want to kind of pull back a little bit on our actions, our reactions, our speech, and we want to just apply a light touch with what we have to say, how we act. So this certainly is a connection of think before you act, especially now since we've got the moon. And on Wednesday, here is that sweet conjunction with Jupiter and the healer Chiron. So, yes, Wednesday indeed is the lucky day. But because we are feeling so good, that may imbue us to really feel very confident to speak our mind and just to do what we feel is right without consequence. So that's the key here is, as mentioned before, think before you act. But nonetheless, this is a very good influence of luck, prosperity, and so on Wednesday. So this is the day you want to highlight anything as far as money, new beginnings, and just a real feel good kind of day. And Uranus is in Taurus, still not really making any negative connections now. There's a sextile between the moon in Aries and Uranus, so that's also good for productivity, creative, and originality. But certainly on Wednesday, we are going to feel awfully lucky for sure. Now, let's look ahead to the next day, which is Thursday, the 23rd, and Mars is creeping forward into the sign of Cancer. Yes, indeed, by the 25th. So that's great. We still have this out of sign trine between Saturn and Mars will affect us all this week. And oh my goodness, since 2008, Pluto has been in the sign of Capricorn. And now looky here on the 23rd. Finally, Pluto moves forward at 0 degrees, 0 minutes of Aquarius. And although Pluto will not remain there very long, it's going to flip back retrograde here. It is good because it gives us an idea of how Pluto is going to affect us over the next couple months. But with Aquarius, Aquarius is the collective. It's the age of Aquarius, as in the future, technology, AI. So you can expect, especially now with 0 degrees critical Pluto and Aquarius, that there's going to be much discussion about our what? Our humanity, our sense of togetherness, and really like-mindedness. This is also what? About our friendliness and coming together as groups. And this will be the discussion, kind of the power to the people. And structure in government will be connected more about uh, public and that which is connected with collective thought and so on and so forth. But it is also good because issues of our humanity will be pivotal for us, and taking care of others, whether that be animals, people, kind of like the plight of the innocent and so on. And so Aquarius is a very friendly air sign, but it's all about the people. And this is very positive. So we have continued even on to Thursday and early on in the week. For the most part, we have that sextile between powerful Pluto and the Sun in Aries now. So we're going to get a lot done this week with that sextile that gives us a real strong sense of confidence and self-esteem now. Very positive with that connection with Jupiter and Chiron. That's about healing, going within this week, really kind of healing ourselves emotionally as well. And yes, Venus is slowly but surely inching closer to that very unpredictable planet of Uranus, which, by the way, is also going to be paramount too, or at least for the next couple months, while Pluto is in Aquarius this year, because it is the depositor of Pluto in Aquarius now. So, yes, what is Uranus in Taurus? Taurus is a very earthy sign. So, for the next couple months, there may be concerns with our Earth. Possibly, yes, weather-related issues, issues connected with earthquakes, certain natural phenomena, uh, and so on and so forth, with this connection with Pluto and Uranus in Taurus. Now, expect the unexpected. And with people, this is a time that people are really going to get out there and express their views about issues with Pluto in Aquarius with our humanity, uh, also rules and regulations, because what powerful Pluto is about, that which deals with rules, regulations, and structure. And it also deals in Aquarius with the breakdown or the transformation or change within society of structure and the powers that be. So a lot of outspoken, kind of collective oriented opinions and principles now expressed in the highest about human rights, rights of all kinds, a lot going on about technology and the changes of technology, our future. And what else is Aquarius? It's about inventions. So right now, there's going to be some wonderful, very helpful inventions, or that we may have some concerns about, possibly such as AI, and we will have to make changes and transformations connected with that. But yes, with this connection with Uranus and Taurus, we're going to have to be very objective about our views about each other, about our views about the future, and making changes that are really very pleasing to each of us, and giving the power to the people, and being very objective, then closed minded, Taurus, Uranus, about other people's objectives and their personal beliefs and outlooks. So, this is a time that there is going to be, either on one scale, tolerance for each other and our views, or intolerance because of Uranus in Taurus as the depositor. And likely with that Aquarian connection, hopefully will be much more detached, because it is an air sign, and more rational or logical, without getting in the way of any narrow minded, stubborn point of views. So let's look to the next day, which is officially the weekend, and that is Friday, the 24th of March. And now Mars is at the 29th critical degrees of Gemini. So, because it is critical and Mars has been so long, for months, into the sign of Gemini, there's going to be, on or around Friday, maybe Saturday, also some interesting information that comes out about communications. This could be positive, this could be negative, and there is an out of sign quincunx or inconjunct between Mars uh, in late Gemini and Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So there is a little tension there, or there may be a little bit of some unsettling news regarding communication. And this could be anything regarding communications. It could be transportation, it could be some unsettling news connected with the internet, the written word, the spoken word, speech, you name it, social media, anything to do with the internet, communications of all types. So yes, do mark that down for Friday the 24th. So we will have to just be cautious of any kind of communications snags right now, or snafus, because of this late critical degrees of Mars in the communicator, the bull out of action in Gemini, and the 0 degrees critical Pluto in Capricorn. We are on the precipice of some kind of important communications and security minded information that's going to come out now. Yes, indeed. And the moon is now further along into the sign of Taurus. Wow, that is extremely important because on Friday, with Pluto now in Aquarius at 0 degrees critical, and its depositor of Uranus, which is unexpected, unpredictable. Uranus and Taurus now with the moon and the moon with Venus. Well, hey, this is a great time for the positive about expressing beauty. Beauty in its highest because Taurus is in its own. And with the moon, it leads to me to believe on or around Friday, Saturday, at some point in the weekend, there could be some kind of communication about something that deals with beauty, art, music, something that is just going to make us feel good. It's going to be all about that is beautifying the earth because this is a very earthy, grounding expression here with Venus, with the moon, and Uranus and Taurus. So it's about beautifying, cleaning up our earth. It's about expression of art and what else? Affection, love. So the positives of Friday is all about aesthetics and beauty. But we can't ignore the fact that, yes, the moon with Uranus and the depositor of Pluto, the powerhouse, is connected with the people, the collective. So, on the one hand, it's about aesthetics and beauty, cleaning up and connections with the earth that could be positive, but also our opinions may get a little bit out of hand this weekend, and there could be some strong differences of opinions, possible protests, conflicts, and so on and so forth. So the key here is take a hint from the positive, the highest ideals of Aquarius, and really consider others' views and not to be so narrow-minded, because this weekend on and around the 24th could be connected with that, where we are so wrapped up in our personal principles, our sense of right and wrong, that we fail to really take into account others' points of view because of this depositor with Pluto. And it also could be a total transformation of what else is Taurus? It's about money. And when you've got the second house connection of Taurus and Uranus as the depositor of Pluto connected with the powers that be and structure, there could be some kind of unexpected good or not so good news connected with the breakdown of financial information, uh, investments, that which deals with, yes, banking, our values, because we've got the moon with Uranus now. So it's expect the unexpected in these areas on or around Friday the 24th. Yes, mark that on your calendar and just be prepared for whatever comes about. And it could go either way, positive or negative, because we do have the positive connection with Venus and the moon. But although it's a good time possibly for money, we have that connection with Uranus. So this is the time to become very security minded and really saving, as mentioned earlier in the week, saving for a rainy day. And certainly there's going to be much discussion on Friday about the unpredictable whatever connected with money, banking, finance, the economy, and especially that deals with this very earthy connection of real estate. Yes, indeed. Friday, a very important day, but also this is connected with, as aforementioned, the unexpected with our Earth. So there could be some rather large earthquakes on or around Friday the 24th or weather related issues. But at the end of the day, it's about what? It's about being prepared for the unknown. And that is marked Friday again. Now let's look ahead to the next day of the weekend, which is the 25th, March 25th, Saturday, and the moon is moving away from the conjunction with Uranus, and it is moving along into the sign of Gemini. So although the moon is still on Saturday in Taurus, it is applying it is applying, excuse me, is moving along into the sign of chatty Gemini. And so we are feeling a little bit more lively on Saturday, but it's a cross between wanting to really be uh, more stubborn or more kind of stuck in our views on Saturday and really wanting to open up and be chatty because we're talking the moon between Taurus and Gemini. So we want to express our views. So kind of continuing that theme with the moon when it was conjoining Uranus and now headlonging into the sign of Gemini by Sunday and by week's end. So this is the time because the moon is still in Taurus and really not making any major aspect, although there is an out of sign trine to Pluto. So that's great for our own sense of personal power. This is the time on Saturday to really write down some of those plans and really do some serious thinking about our goals. So let's look ahead to Sunday, and the final day of the week is March 26th, and now we have the moon officially in the sign of chatty Gemini. And look at this, and we now have 0 degrees of Mars in Cancer, and it's now making an official quincunx or inconjunct to Pluto. So there's a little tension in these areas with regards to relating kind of as the day or 2 days prior with uh, Friday. So we're kind of reeling from some kind of event that transpired around Friday. And so with Chatty Gemini, we're going to be discussing whatever transpired for quite some time. And with all these 29 0 degrees connection this week, with the sun going into Aries and the new moon on a Tuesday, Pluto since 2008, now even briefly into 0 degrees Aquarius, now Mars after many months at 0 degrees of Cancer. This week, mark this whole week, in fact, on your calendar because it is extremely pivotal. All about restructuring. It's all about redoing what is connected with the past. It is about a fresh start because of the new moon on Monday. Excuse me, that's Tuesday. That is with the sun in Aries as the moon. It's a dawn of a new day because of Pluto in Aquarius, even brief, Mars in Cancer. So with all these 0 degrees, and even Saturn is very early on into Pisces. So with all these 29 and 0 degrees connections, this is the week of transformation. This is the week that we are going to want to communicate with others. And for Sunday, with the moon going into Gemini, it's all about many kinds of discussions, many forms of communications and transforming the way and how we communicate and making beginnings that will affect what? Not just us, but our karma, because Saturn is now in the final sign of Pisces. If we communicate effectively and we are objective, which is a hint to take from this week with the connections with the 29 to 0 degrees critical connections. If we are objective, we consider others' point of views, we start fresh and with a positive zest for the future. We are constructive about making constructive changes and transformation. And because we are so focused now on the future and really creating a breakdown within society for the good, then this is the message that we can take away from this extremely pivotal week, is that change is not just about change, but if we look to the future with a positive attitude and we take action and we seriously consider other people's feelings, we take a hint from Pisces and we are sensitive with compassion, then the future indeed looks very, very bright.